Welcome back to the show, everybody. I am Cody, and this is the Far From Okay podcast. I got Rich with me today. What's going on, man?
Just excited to get on here with the awful sports demonstration we're going to talk about here in a little bit.
Yeah, that was pretty rough stuff, man. I do not like losing to the Browns, and I did not like the way that played out. I felt like based on the schedule at the beginning of the year, we all said this was going to be a trap game because they were going to be, exhausted from Baltimore, and this was kind of set up to be the hard part of their schedule. But, man, I did not see it playing out like that.
No, we kind of gave it to them there at the end, I think.
Yeah. I don't think we gave up. I think we just lost focus. We started getting a little backyard ball.
Bad coaching. Poor decisions were made.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was probably Arthur Smith's worst.
Wasted plays, putting in fields, and just kind of did it without Russ even knowing it was happening. It was crazy, too. He was like, I was just as surprised as you were.
Yeah, no, man. It's 2 games, though. He hasn't punched it in. I mean, he got with Calvin Austin.
When you're wasting plays like that turn into penalties and questionable, calls by the refs, too.
Yeah, I think it was I think the team was probably tired after Baltimore. The officiating went kind of against them. 7 out of 10 of the home games that crew has officiated have won because of the percentile on the visiting team. But, all that aside, I think that it was probably poorly coached. I'm curious to see, though. We come in Cincy with a 10-day rest, and it's going to be a gunslinger battle at that point because Russ is going to want to get underneath and start putting it out there, and Burrow's going to do what he's going to do. They're saying even though Cincy's so far behind, what are they, 4-7 right now? They said Cincy is still Burrow's
a threat.
Yeah, Burrow's still playing one of his best years of his career at this point. So
well, they're scoring, but you know what I mean.
Defense is trash. It's letting everybody else in.
Yeah. That's almost like a comparison to the Penguins situation. They can get the points on the board, but they give them back just as easy.
It's a team with no defense, yeah. I mean, when you got to keep up in the shootout just to maintain it, yeah.
So
it's tough.
Can we do that?
It's one of those things that you got to have either you're better off with a well-balanced team that doesn't have a great offensive attack but has a good defensive, hold rather than going at it with being lopsided, either heavy defense, no offense, or heavy offense, no defense, because you're always going to find yourself playing a one-sided game, it seems like.
Obviously. I mean, it's just they can score on you quick and make you look bad. They still have wins this year, so
yeah, no doubt.
Don't count them out like everybody says, because even though they are beatable because of the defense being so poor, your team's still got to put up points. Can they do that?
Yeah, you can't. I don't think you're going to be able to beat the Bengals with Boswell's leg again. Yeah, it's going to be tough. You
already got 2 games out of him.
Yeah, he's going to be an MVP candidate at the end of the year. Thinking about how we went into the Cleveland game and they celebrated so heavy. Myles Garrett's running his mouth. But the funny part about it is we're going to see him in a few weeks. So I'm curious to see how a well-rested team goes out there and deploys against them because I think that was their Super Bowl. I think
they definitely celebrated like it was.
It was hilarious, man.
Fans showed out and really showed out too.
Yeah, they did.
Hey, congratulations to you.
Yeah, shout out to all the Cleveland fans. I mean, you guys got the Haslams, we got the Rooneys, you guys got Stefanski, we got Tomlin. You guys got Garrett, and we got Watt, and I know he slept on that game, but I got a feeling whenever we see you guys again, it's going to smash you in the mouth.
Well, it'll be Watt's time to prove it, won't it?
Yeah, especially after all the talking. It must piss Myles Garrett off that he's such a physical specimen, and T.J. Watt is still technically more capable of wrecking a game,
I mean, as he demonstrated last time, though.
Fucking 8.
Watt was kind of invisible, so.
Oh, there's no question. But you're 3-8 talking about the belt goes through me. I'm the best there is. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll see what happens, man. That'll be fun. That'll be a fun one. Cincy coming up, like you said, man. I don't think they're going to sleep on it at all. I think they know what they got in Burrow.
Is that a home game though, right?
I think so, yeah. But that's gonna be a bigger test for me because they're gonna have to rely on defense and put up numbers because Burrow's gonna get his. I got a good feeling about that, and we're gonna have to be able to compete. With Russ struggling to get it in the end zone this year, I don't know what's going on, dude. They got to open up Mike Williams, maybe. They got to try and do something. They can't.
Maybe you'll get some life out of Minka and get a couple turnovers.
He looked bad on Thursday, dude. He was showing up late to everything.
Invisible, bro.
Yeah, it was rough. And I do still think. I was listening. Obviously, listen to the fan every day, but Pony. I do see credence in what he was saying, but I understand where Starkey's coming from too. It's an embarrassing loss to a bad team, but this team was exhausted going in there, man. They had to be beat down from Baltimore. They could have been coached
better and not done just questionable calls.
That was kind of the weird part about
penalties.
Yeah, that was the weird part about it. It didn't help with the coaching strategy they deployed in that game.
Like they just kind of did it on a spur of the moment. Like, what are you doing? Just trying to. It was almost like watching Matt Canada back in there or something.
That's what they were saying, man. It looked like a Matt Canada offense at that point.
Just throwing anything at it and hoping it sticks.
Well, I think Arthur Smith
did have a 30-yard run or something like that, didn't he?
What, Jalen Warren?
Fields, wasn't it?
Fields he did. He broke up the sideline a little bit and then got out.
So,
But Arthur Smith does strategically put these plans together to stay away from the strengths of a defense. Now, you can't necessarily get away from their pass rushers all the time, but he's trying to keep it out of the secondary's hands too. So, I see what he was trying to do to that degree. Man, that was a rough game to watch. Really, really rough. And if you want the Browns, to be something someday, they got to change their color scheme because it's awful. And then, you're probably happy about what you saw.
They did. They played fairly well.
They played good D.
Couldn't convert with the chances. How many turnovers do we have? Like 3 or something?
We essentially got beat by the same type of game that we're known for winning, where we put up lesser numbers than the other team, and we still come out with a W.
Yeah.
We put up the better numbers all across the board, and they still won.
It's an embarrassing loss if you're a coach, I would think.
Yeah, I would think. I heard Tomlin talk after. He wasn't too gushy with the reporters, so I don't think he really looks at it as that bad of a loss. I would almost contend to you that Tomlin told them to take it easy today, on Thursday, so that they could go into Cincinnati well rested, and then when they see Cleveland again, they could knock the door off them because
we'll see.
I hope, dude. I really hope.
See. That's hopeful thinking.
I hate the Browns, man. I hate them all, when we're playing any team, but it's just there's just this unwarranted arrogance over there. It's hilarious, man.
Teams show up when they come to play, though, that's for sure.
Well, it's all divisional stuff too, man. Outside of Cincy, I doubt that we're going to see shootout games between the Ravens or Cleveland like that. I think, we'll be able to put it. I'm telling you, man, I think the conditions and them being beat up from Baltimore just really kind of choked them out. And I think that just created an environment. When we were looking at the schedule, it was like this was a game that we were supposed to lose based on the way it was designed, right?
Like Tomlin's history of losing games that he's not supposed to, I guess.
Well, I'm telling you, sometimes it feels like he just doesn't ask for the same effort for certain games, right? It's like some games it just feels like, and they call them trap games or we get beat by bad teams or whatever, but to me it almost feels like he's like, this game doesn't matter as much on the schedule.
So you think they're instructed to give?
not
50%?
It's not even that I would say that he wants less effort out of them for those games.
Less.
He wants more effort on other games, right? Like he really commits to their physicality on certain games that we play. In other games, it's like he wants to play that soft zone stuff and just kind of take whatever underneath passes the defense will give him, but he's not going directly at the throat. And then other games, it's like he just wants to put somebody in a box the whole game and beat the hell out of them.
Well, I don't know how much more predictable you could be.
Hard Knocks is AFC North this year, so we're going to see all the behind the scenes stuff that, well, at least the parts that they project for us. But it's like have you ever seen him? Have you ever seen the film where he goes up to T.J. Watt on the sideline? He's like, I need a sack right now, and then somehow T.J. Watt does it. It's like like on spot. It was like on spot. Like instead of T.J. Watt, like, oh man, I've been struggling, to get pressure to, and then he just goes in and does it. It's like he has another level that he doesn't employ until it's like he'll show the O-line the same look all game, and then when he needs to get it done, he'll go in with something totally different and just knock the dude out of his shoes.
Or is that just the players like, oh shit, I better do something this play?
Well, yeah, they do. They hold the shit out of them, and they don't get penalties for it, right? I mean, isn't that kind of what happens most of the time? It's
you just got to do it more than they can call it. That's all.
That's all. He never bitches. He never gets up and complains. He never does any of that. Now, since Cleveland got a bunch of memes out about Watt, like, honestly, man, like, get an organization. How about come off some ownership that's not willing to spend top dollar and ruin the league's price on QBs for a guy that shouldn't have even been bought by anybody? How about that?
Yeah, that was a crazy deal, dude. I couldn't. Just the amount of money.
Get ownership that don't sell their souls to try and make something happen. Look at Baker Mayfield now. That's the best karma that team could ever have. Now he's out in Tampa doing great. I mean, he's a starter, and he's always giving them an opportunity. He beat us. He beat the dog shit out of us in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
And Cleveland was like, nah, we want to let him go. All right, man, watch him.
I wanted the Steelers to pick him up, man.
I know you did.
I thought he would have been great.
Short QBs struggle with the middle of the field.
I mean, look what he does, though, dude.
Nah,
his determination.
Since watching him leave
far
Cleveland,
superior to others.
Yeah, since watching him leave Cleveland, I've kind of watched and enjoyed watching his career down there in Tampa. I think he earned it. He's a gritty kid.
Oh, yeah, he puts his work in.
What is this? New missile can't be intercepted.
Oh wow.
Thanks, Vladim here.
Really looking great.
Well, the problem was, I guess,
started a whole nother conflict.
What Russia knew about that happening was that Ukraine does not have the technology to control the missile. So somebody from outside had to help with their satellites with that. So that I don't get the whole thing. Like I said before, if Putin's going to get involved with the U.S. now based on that, well, yeah, they're saying either the U.S. or one of the European nations had that set up. So they were using it with the assistance of another nation that's not, Russia's don't do that type list or whatever. But the reality is, like, I don't see the difference between the U.S. funding Ukraine, the U.S. giving Ukraine weapons,
having
the
soldiers
US,
there,
or just having troops. Like, I don't know. How does Russia determine what is involvement and what is not? That's why it feels like a bluff. But at the same end, I mean, you're seeing the videos of it, right?
No, I mean, it's.
I think he's more dangerous the more you get him cornered.
It's only a matter of time before he starts just trying to go at it with the U.S. because of, you know what I mean? They're like control over Ukraine basically.
But why would Biden do that? Why would he authorize use of military weapons right before he gets out of office if he knows that's a direct threat to us?
Seems like an act of sabotage, almost, doesn't it? It's like some
if you don't think Biden voted for Trump, check again. You guys want me out? I'm gonna go shit my pants in a booth over here.
Oh man. He's doing it, man. He's got all these.
Did you see the video where they're looking for him? They're like, "Uh-oh, we lost Joe."
He's in the jungle.
He's in the jungle.
Welcome to the jungle.
Yeah, he's behind a tree. I think he's behind a tree.
Man,
it's wild, dude. And if she's in closed doors, like, she's in hiding right now because she's disgraced. Which, based on her attitude and the type of person she is, she would react that way to a loss.
So remind me, who's running the country?
Yes. If we have neither the president or the vice president are in the driver's seat, why are we acknowledging that they even exist in cabinet if there's clearly somebody else at the helm?
That just shows you that neither one of them were in any type of control.
No, and
it answers the question why Kamala didn't do anything. Well, she was the vice president. She had no control.
Looking like Comcast is going to sell off MSNBC. They're going to change it up into something. They're going to do a spin-off network, but it looks like, all of the BS that they've done has just really, really backfired on their credibility. And so they're trying to... Yeah, and this shit, bipartisan outrage. Mayorkas and Ray skip hearings. This guy has so much to account for on border This guy has so much to account for on what's happened inside of this country, and they don't seem to think that they need to go and have congressional hearings and speak to the public so that or speak to the Senate and speak to the public so that people can understand what's going on here. You think that everything that he did was all right and he won't account for it? Like, that's insane to me, dude. You can't sit there and say that these people had anything positive or wholesome, or what's the word I'm looking for? Anything that was or trustworthy going on if they can't even show up and talk. And this Ray, the director of the FBI, this dude has been just, every time shit gets shoveled, he just lays it down in the gravel and then everybody walks on it. You know what I mean? Like, it's insane, dude. Everybody. Yeah. Yeah, why does it smell like shit? Did you I think we all stepped in it. Okay. We all stepped in it. It's because typically what'll happen is with all these people that do this stuff, they don't so much be held accountable. They just disappear. Their career leads to nothing, or they just go to an office somewhere and close the door. You don't hear about these people anymore. Hillary Clinton's a perfect example. After all the damage she did to her party, dude, they bring her out like once every 4 years. She talks. And then half the room that she steps in don't even like her, and the other half can't stand her. Yeah,
I mean, want me to be president again?
And same with Bill. I mean, after they bring them out at key times, and that's the end of it. They don't use them to propagate any of their popularity because they're not popular people. You know,
no, based on public opinion anymore now.
So Trump's getting rid of Matt Gaetz as the option. Now he's going to pick up Pam Bondi.
Yeah, he was questionable.
Well, yeah, but he's so what I've been kind of hearing and learning a little bit more is that
deceitful mother fudger.
Yeah, Gates's things were definitely going to be, all his little side stuff was definitely going to be a total Stonewall roadblock.
Yeah, that so was he pivoted. Weird. Like,
he pivoted on that like he should have. But Pam Bondi, you know, coming from Mark Cuban, who decided that as far as he was concerned, Trump only supports himself with dumb women. This is really kind of pie in your eye, bud. Huh? I got all this money. Is Mark Cuban's dispute with Donald Trump anything more than a dick swinging contest? I got money, you got money. My money's better than your money.
I don't even know.
Isn't that
touch on
just
that one.
Yeah? I mean, because it would make sense that Mark Cuban's entire approach to Donald Trump. Now, you know O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank.
Yeah.
He totally backs most of what Trump does financially, and his entire stance on that, why he comes from that place, is because I too have a lot of money. I too have a lot of money in New York. I too have a lot of money in China, and if they can do it to him, they can do it to me. So if he's looking out for us, then he's looking out for us. Mark Cuban seems to think that he's on an island somewhere where the things that Donald Trump is looking out for does not apply to him. And Mark Cuban's just going to be arrogant and cocky about it, and he's going to be a white dude for Kamala.
That's great.
That's going to go over like a fart in an elevator, dude. I never had a problem with him, and then this start, but you know, he's from Mount Lebanon, and if you drive through there, I mean, that's kind of the way it's built over there. It's crazy, dude. You would think that these guys, for all their dislikes, would look out for each other based on being the same tax bracket, essentially. Correct?
You would think
he would be inclined to protect himself by helping Trump to protect the people, because this isn't about illegal assets or anything like that. This is about what the New York Attorney General and all these other people have done to Trump to try and seize his assets, to try and make him fork over any kind of his worth, to try and basically bleed him dry through lawfare in order to stop him in this upcoming election. That's how scared they were of him because of what a threat he poses to what they have going on. The thing about him is he's an unstoppable force because he represents an idea that people really, really want. So no matter what they do, short of taking shots at him, you know, the guy is going to hold his ground with his base. For them, they don't understand his person or why people accept him or why his personality and the realness of him draws people in, so it drives them insane. But I think for Trump, he's going to have to reach across party lines And I think it's cool that he got this guy Besant is a hedge fund guru. So check this out. A little bit of information I've seen on Scott Besant. Chief Executive Officer and Chief Management Officer for Key Square Capital Management. He's a beast. Former Chief Investment Officer for Soros Fund Management. Weird. Trustee of Rockefeller University. Also weird. Member of the Council on Foreign Relations. Taught economic history at Yale. Bachelor's degree from Yale, and advised Trump to pursue a 3-3-3 strategy. Now, the 3-3-3 strategy, it includes 3 million barrels of oil a day, and that gets us, it'll boost everything that we got going on. So it requires manufacturing, it requires drilling and stuff like that. But this guy worked for the Soros Foundation, but found out recently George Soros' top investment advisor for the foundation was a conservative. Now, George Soros is staunchly Democratic, staunchly progressive and liberal, and he pushes, he's got the Soros Foundation, which pushes for all of these things, the liberal agendas. They do the PAC commercials. They invest a lot of money into DAs in cities around the country that have gone to dog shit because nobody's holding anybody accountable anymore. Yeah. Soros has done all this, but what it tells me is when it comes to his money, he doesn't give a shit who works for him, as long as he thinks they're the right person for the job.
Making him more.
Yeah. So even at the top of the elitism that liberals hate but they love the support of,
he still trusts the
he's
financial
still the same as any fucking buddy else. Yeah.
Of
a Hungarian. That's ridiculous, dude. He shouldn't even be allowed to operate in the United States. You know that. Like, he operates.
Soros?
Yeah, he operates from a political standpoint out of like Hungary, out of like different parts of the world. People are mad about McCormick having a house in Connecticut.
Yeah.
This guy's not even. You know what I mean?
That's funny.
Dude, it fucks me up. It's creepy. It's not creepy. It like makes your skin crawl because you think these people are so inundated with their beliefs, and they base everything and their entire worth and personality off of their entire structure is built off of their belief system. What they, especially with the foundations and stuff, you would think that everything would be completely set up to run only with the people that support his ideologies and stuff like that. And what you find out is he ain't different than anybody else.
Targeting.
Yeah. He wants the best people in charge of his stuff. They're just slime balls, man. They're all doing the same thing.
Well, how many cities have been funded? You got judges or political
Brandon Johnson in Chicago.
He's just paid their whole campaign for them to be in there.
Well, that's what he was trying to do with the Dugan thing here. And Zapala, since he's got family ties with this whole thing, Zapala was able to hold his own ground. But that was all Soros funded, man. As I think Dugan had around $1 million in campaign funding, and I think maybe 70,000 of it was his own. I think like 750,000 of it came from the Soros Foundation to put a guy in charge that wasn't going to hold anybody in a jail cell.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. Why would you? Yeah, you shouldn't be able to monopolize the entire U.S. government based on some kind of financial influence. Like the Rockefellers or the Rothschilds or obviously the Soros family.
It's crazy how just all these political parties are like funded by these elitists, you know what I mean, that just have the money to throw at whatever campaigns they want.
That's
just
why
to
Trump
get the things to fit the way they would prefer.
Right, and that's why Trump never said anything about taxing the billionaires, because he knows, just like Kamala did, that those are the people that funded his campaign. You can't. I mean, Kamala gets all this money from millionaires, billionaires, all the elites in this country, and probably from outside too, as we could assume. And then you look at the way it was set up, and she's going to campaign. I'm fighting for the middle class, going after the millionaires and the billionaires and the elite and all this. No, they gave you the money to do this. What are you going to bite the hand that feeds you?
Every person that walked on her stage was paid like $1 million or more. So,
dude, it's wild.
Nobody that was on Trump's rallies was paid to be there.
No, he was out there. Trump watch.
Trump watch. This is Donald J. Trump watch.
And then for Christmas, your loved ones will enjoy the Trump gun.
Don't forget your Trump coffee mug.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they both did it, whatever. I mean, both sides play their games. I'm not even worried about that much of it, but
You should be.
nah, it's just politics. It's a dirty game. I do like the idea of getting rid of a lot of this elitist money and influence. I like the idea of Elon Musk stepping in to kind of check things out, see where he can cut a lot of cost spending. I mean, he did it with Twitter, and
I like how my stocks are looking.
stocks and crypto are going up. So I was looking at this Jordan Neely case that's coming up. I guess we're done deliberating or whatever. We're going to go into the final stages of the court case with this thing. And like, if you don't know what it is, it's a case in New York where there was a homeless person who was essentially acting erratic and making the people on the subway car uncomfortable. A Marine stepped in and subdued the situation, put the guy in a headlock, and that guy ended up dead. Now,
Was there drugs in his system?
well, there's synthetic marijuanas and other things in the system, but the issue that I take with this entire thing is this is what happens when people fail to get the help they need, and then the rest of the world abandons them and leaves them to be everybody else's problem. This problem started a long time ago for Jordan Neely, and it wasn't addressed properly. What's crazy is he was homeless, and he was a drug addict clearly, and he was schizophrenic. That was the other part of it that people need to know. And he had nobody. Nobody cared about him enough to take care of him when he was still alive. But now people are suing on his behalf. Now, I don't see how that's right. Whenever you didn't,
families that don't have any involvement shouldn't be able to sue for some kind of financial gain on the
whole
the
issue.
person they didn't want anything to do with before they died.
Right, and that's the issue that I take with the
Should've
entire
got 'em
thing.
mental help or something.
Well, that's the bigger issue behind it. I think it's a symptom. It's not an individual case. It's a symptom of the idea that we have gotten rid of mental health institutions and mental health help. If the federal government was putting money in the right place, you would think that we would still have some of these facilities. We're not still taking a hammer and a chisel to somebody's brain to make them right anymore. It's all done with medication and stuff like that. It would seem now would be a better time for mental health facilities for people that need it, because the problem that happens here is these people get overlooked, and they either end up in jail or they end up dead on a subway car, and nobody was there to try and help them initially. So this dude went his whole life just waiting for this to happen, basically, because there was never a system set up that would implement the help that he needed.
Yeah.
Right. And as a family, you don't get to write somebody off and then step in and try to collect on it when they're no longer around. I don't think that's right at all. I think you committed the sin of letting them go and abandoning them in the first place.
Should be held accountable for their actions as a...
Right. Much like, school shooters. When these kids do this, they get a hold of weapons and they do these things. Somewhere along the way, the parents failed. And there needs to be accountability there. There needs to be accountability because you see it just like I see it. These people breed kids and then they just let them out into the world, and they have no skills, they have no manners, they have no way to coincide.
Respect for anybody
at all.
Zero consideration for the surrounding of them.
Right. And then what happens after that is the rest of the world steps in. They either become part of the problem, or these people are quote unquote victimized by the rest of the world because they were basically wound up and let go and somebody else just walked away from them. So this is a huge issue in this country with mental health. This is an unaddressed issue with mental health. I would even say over the last 4 or maybe 16 years, we've been encouraging these mental health issues to flourish. And now we're at a point where I think if we're going to take a hard look at the federal government and what goes on there, you could do a lot to empty out jails by getting people the mental help that they need in different facilities.
Well, it becomes like the problem of is it privately funded or government funded, and then you got to fit that on a budget that's already
struggling.
What it's at. I mean, look, how many trillion are we in debt with somebody?
No, there's no question, man. But I think that the city of Pittsburgh spent $6 million for 11 porta potties downtown, so homeless people could go for free. and that's a lot of money that could have been allocated for other stuff for addressing the issue. Yeah, thank you, Gainey, for that. And it's ironic to see all the homeless encampments that are literally right outside of the county jail property.
They're all over the place, dude.
No, I'm saying, but they're right on the walking path, right down there by the county jail.
Open all kind of homeless
All you gotta
shelters
do
in
is
the
open the door.
neighborhoods to accommodate. They're just gonna
these are the flyers that have been going out where people.
rezone this
So in Pittsburgh right now, people have been
area.
getting flyers the day of or the day before off-schedule meetings about zoning restrictions being lifted on how many families can be in a house, or even having to tell anybody in the area that those families are going to be put into these places. So what they're trying to do is trying to secretly and without having to have any kind of accountability for it, put these immigrants and these people in neighborhoods around you.
I don't know if they're
without
immigrants,
you.
but
Well,
homeless shelter. I mean,
yeah, that's fine. The illegals and the homeless are going to be stuffed into houses, and I'm not, it is what it is, man. I don't have a problem with any individual person. I do have a problem with the ideology that puts them here. I don't have a problem with necessarily the family that immigrated here illegally. I have a problem with the message that was sent to them to get them here, and I have a problem with that as it stands. So somebody here gave them the idea that it was okay to do this, and that's who needs to be held accountable. But as I'm saying that, they're trying to take away people's right to understand and know what's going on around them in their neighborhoods by putting people in unnotified, unwarranted. They don't come and knock on your door, tell you anything. You get nothing in the mail. That's what they're trying to propose right now. But they're trying to set people up for failure. They want to use a lot of these abandoned buildings. Now, the crazy part is they've chased all the business out of downtown, and they're talking about using a lot of those buildings for that. So it's, did they set it up for themselves this way? Probably. Does it look like they did? Absolutely. I was talking to a guy the other day, and he was telling me that there's a couple people looking at the possibility of how to impeach Sarah Innamorato because of how bad of a job she's doing at this point, what she's actually up to. I don't know how true that is. I know that apparently the DA would have to get involved in things like that for this to happen. I don't know how many people are actually backing it, but it just looks like a really, really shitty organization right now from the inside out with city council. And isn't Ed Gainey sitting at the top of it all?
They want to increase your taxes, but they're going to just disperse the homeless population through your little communities. So all those schools they shut down, they'll be trying to
and
set them up for homeless shelters.
And for the people that are a part of that and that are here, this is after she denied the Pittsburgh Public School Board any kind of right or leeway to go after raising property taxes to get their budget right, but she has no problem doing it to get her budget right. I mean, it's just piss poor leadership. It's piss poor. And we're going to get manufacturing back, and it would be a shame to live in this Tri-River area where all of this manufacturing can be shipped downriver. There could be so many jobs coming back to this area.
I have it in control of people like that.
It's just going to be horrible.
Intentional, destructive.
Yeah, they're going to hurt everything around us.
Management
And this
of
gives
everything.
jobs to people that don't necessarily have skill sets. They don't necessarily have anything. If you're a child right now in Braddock and you don't know what you're doing, and in the next 10 years you become an adult, or if you're a teenager and in the next 10 years you become an adult and there's a steel mill down the road, or there's there's an oil well or gas well company down the road that you can go sign up with, that's perfect. You get a job for life. It's hard work. You understand the meaning of good labor, and you have a skill set, and you're contributing, and then you can get your life where you want it. If you have people in here putting up roadblocks on this whole thing, but
I mean, do you see how they handle this situation?
Ed Gainey chased all the development out of downtown and a couple other boroughs in Pittsburgh by making them mandating inclusionary zoning. So 10% of the budget on any kind of building project has to be allocated for low-income housing. Developers don't have a 10% of their budget they can allocate.
No.
Especially when the budget's getting bigger as things start getting, as things on the job happen, they need more money. They can't find out how to do more with less.
Yeah.
Right?
When the mafia was just come around and get your collections.
Yeah, security. Yeah. This is so we don't fuck you up. We're going to pay you so that we don't come in and hurt you.
Give us 10%,
Yeah.
and we'll make sure you don't see any roadblocks along the way,
Right.
buddy.
Yeah, no question. Yeah, and I think that the leadership is going to cause this city to just turn into one of the many, many little boroughs around it that really don't have anything. But I think outside the rural areas, yeah, it's tough. Those areas will probably have some type of economy out there because they'll be able to, flourish because they won't be under this horrible leadership that we have in the city of Pittsburgh. They won't even let the kids, the teenagers are out here doing insane stuff. They won't even let Schumann back open because of all these different reasons and obstacles that they put in the way. But they're releasing these kids home. They're cutting off the ankle bracelets, and nobody's here to hold them accountable. Once again, the parents aren't even trying to step in and do their jobs. So, it's a mess right now, man. It would be such a shame to see opportunity come and then just skip right over this area because of the leadership that's here.
Well, I think the election's coming up soon for it, so.
Yeah, that would be nice, man. That would be real nice to be able to get to a point where we look at it and we're like, I don't want to do this anymore. And everybody else is kind of like, you know what? You're right. I need to do a little bit more. You could probably do a little bit less. We could equal it out a little bit. Well, the thing is that when opportunity comes, people will let opportunity pass to take something smaller that's handed to them. Yeah, if they can do less, then they're going to, typically. There's no sense of pride in anything anymore, and people need that, That's a big thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, like you said, manufacturing is just... We depend on other countries for everything anymore, so...
Well, and that's what's crazy about the tariff idea is it does work. In the right hands, capitalism works too, but it just doesn't end up that way over time. It doesn't end up in the right hands. Is typically what's ruined it. But, the tariffs are going to make things so undesirable to sell here. Why do I care about China's economy? Why do I care about the Chinese making money off me paying for their product? I'd rather buy something made in the U.S. And if the Chinese are going to sell stuff here, they can manufacture it here. And then U.S. people can go work at those factories and make the money. Because that's what we're doing over there. Our products are being made over there.
Yeah.
And they're buying it off their own shelves. American
It's
companies
cheaper.
have just pushed it out.
They made it so expensive to be here. I mean,
Well, they regulated
not even
everything out.
Expensive, just...
It's so expensive to operate because they regulated everything out. They said you can, but we're just going to make it impossible for you to make any money or operate to the degree that you need to with the regulations. So they put, just bureaucracy just killed the whole thing. And it's happened over time. It weakens our military because our economy has less of a stance in a global position. And we become less of a player. So,
It just really diminishes your self-reliance
yeah,
as a country when you don't make anything that you depend on.
everything that we need to stand for is gone. Yeah, no doubt. This is kind of what we're trying to get to here, man. We're just trying to offer up a little bit of variety on topics, and I know a little bit today was rambling, but there is a lot going on. Things are moving all the time. Life comes at you fast, and you got to be ready to pivot. This episode should be up within the next probably day. I gotta take some time to edit, but man, I hope you guys are staying safe out there. The weather's getting cold, it's getting miserable, and holiday season sucks.
3 more months.
Yeah, 3 more months, 3 more weeks. But try to just not lose the idea of why we're here and trying to justify what you're doing. It's crazy. You can get caught up in the shopping and all the scheduling and all that, but it really is just a time of reflection right now. So, hug your families, tell them you love them, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. We'll be putting up some more shorts, just keeping everybody involved. I hope you like the 6th episode of the Far From OK podcast. I've been Cody. He's been Rick. Follow us on YouTube at the Far From OK podcast. This show is unofficially sponsored by Stewart Pest Control. We have all your pest control needs.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart.
You're the best. All right, talk to you guys later.